Well, hi, friends. It is February. I always hear how January is so long, 31 days. It feels like forever. The winter, everybody, on this 59th day of January. But I don't have that problem because my birthday is January 31st. So I always spend January in pleasant anticipation, right? That it's going to be a fun ending. So that has never been my problem. But February tends to be worse for me just because around here in South Texas, or even in North Texas, where I spent most of my adult life, that's when the real weather comes. So we'll see how it goes this year, right? This weekend, the reason you're getting this a little bit late during the week is because I spent a long weekend up in the Dallas area visiting a few family members and a bunch of old friends. Kind of took a tour and, spent breakfast with one and lunch with another and coffee with someone else. So and that was like for 3 or 4 days. So I've had a great weekend and just always great to see old friends. My grown kids are there. So yeah, it's been great, and that is why I'm getting to you on a Wednesday instead of sending out a typical article Monday or Tuesday. But it is the beginning of the month, so I'm going to give you some book, recommendations, I guess, but also just what I've been reading, what you might find interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Right. This was the first book I read in early January, "Seeing the Gospel" by Eve Tibbs. And what this book does is it's actually really gorgeous. It has pictures in it, colors. It explains icons, specifically Orthodox icons, and it she just kind of defines what they are, what they let's see, how to read them. Like explains the clues that are hidden in them, so that when you see an icon, whether it's just online somewhere or if you or in a church that has them, you can kind of go, okay, what's going on in this image that points to Jesus? That is giving us a clue as to what the icon maker is trying to say. So it's full of images. It's just beautiful. And what she will do is kind of take you through the life of Christ. So she's got images from before he was born that display the visitation, the annunciation, parts of his miracles, his death and resurrection. So all these things. And it's just a fascinating book. So if you've ever been interested in icons or wondered what they were and how the church has used them over the centuries, Seeing the Gospel by Eve Tibbs. The next book I have been reading, I am not finished with this. This is N.T. Wright's The Vision of Ephesians. I'm working my way slowly through it, so I'm about two-thirds of the way. And in this book about Ephesians, he demonstrates that what he repeats over and over is that Paul, when he's writing this letter to this church in Ephesus in the first century, is teaching them that the church is supposed to be a small working model of the new creation, which totally tracks. And it reminds me of, gosh, I don't know who it was, but I know in an old post, probably over a year ago, I wrote about Columba. That's right. Columba, St. Columba, who went from Ireland to Scotland, and he founded the whole monastery on the island of Iona, which oh gosh, we got to visit about 9 years ago, and it's still just one of my favorite places on earth. It was basically an outpost. Like we are an outpost of the kingdom. And so that was his vision for spreading the gospel into Scotland, is that these little churches that he was planting going out from Iona would be outposts of the kingdom. So that's the idea of what he says Ephesians is teaching. So let me read you one quote. And this is from Ephesians 2. And so Dr. Wright is talking about what kind of people and what are the good works that we are supposed to be doing as the church. And he says, ordinary Christians are called to produce the extraordinary deeds which display the fresh order that God is bringing to his disordered world. Ordinary Christians, you and me, are called by God to produce extraordinary deeds which display the fresh order that God is bringing to this disordered world. So we are called to be instruments of God's good design to show the world the way it was supposed to be. We do that every day through our words, through our actions, as we are in tune with the Spirit. So, anyway, I'm really enjoying this, and there's more too. So, if you want to take a, it's very conversational in his normal style, and yet he comes with great theological insight. Finally, one more book. This one's a little more on the controversial end. Preston Sprinkle, if you'll see this little mark up here, that is an advanced reader copy. So this book isn't out yet, but it's coming in a month. Today is the 4th, so it comes a month from yesterday, March 3rd, I believe. From Genesis to Junia, this is Preston Sprinkle's honest search for what the Bible really says about women in leadership. If you don't know who Preston is, he has been podcasting for years and writing, and he has gone on this 3 to 4 year journey where he's been public about how he's researching this whole issue of women in leadership. So you could go back to his podcast called Raw Theology to see what's been going on over the years. And just every now and then you'll see the topic come up in his title, and you could just listen to his journey as he's interviewed people on all sides of the issue, just he's investigating. So the book really follows that vibe. It's unusual. Of course, there's plenty of books about this topic, right? But this one follows the journey that he took. So he writes the introduction back before he starts writing the book. And he says, okay, this is what we're going to do. Like, I'm writing this now. I don't have my mind made up. I don't know what I'm going to find. So here we go. And then at the end, he writes like a conclusion and says, okay, I'm writing this conclusion as I fly home to kind of wrap this whole project up. So you're going to get into the weeds a little bit, like he gets into the languages. So it's scholarly, but it's very, very accessible and conversational. And you hear Preston's voice in it consistently through. He's not going to make everybody happy. In fact, there's probably people on both sides of the issue who are going to be a little disappointed in various parts. So I don't want to give it away completely. We will talk more about this book as the launch comes at the end of this month into March. But I did want you to know that it is here. It's available for pre-order, so go ahead and put it in your cart and hit that pre-order button. I will have a link in the show notes for you there too as well. So those are a few books that are just, on my radar, whether I've read them or am currently reading and thought you might be interested. What else? February's busy. I'm actually pretty excited because I have a few writing projects, but also I have a speaking engagement in Houston in a couple of weeks that the world is invited to. So if you're in the area, February 19th and 20th, the Visual Museum of Women in Christianity is having their 4th annual symposium. And the theme is rereading her story. So I will, shocker, be talking about Mary, Mother of God, since that's pretty much the only thing I know right now with all that research and writing I did last year for my dissertation. But yeah, so super excited. I will, of course, put the link and everything down here in the notes. If you are in the area or you're somewhat close by and want to swing in, come on, like there's still room. It's a kind of a day and a half, so we'll start at noon, I guess, on Thursday, and we'll end by 4:00 on Friday, that kind of thing. Jennifer McNutt, who is the author of the Mary We Forgot, it's that yellow book right there. She is our keynote speaker on Thursday night. And I believe that if you live in the Houston area or nearby, if you just want to come for that, I think that part is free. But the tickets are super inexpensive anyway for the whole weekend. So there you go. So that's what's going on with me. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. If you've read any of these books or have any others that you think I might enjoy, give me a shout, okay? I'll talk to y'all soon.